Hey everybody, it's Paul from Alexandria Knife Sharpening and Laser Engraving. Got some scissors in from a groomer. Now, to add to the difficulty here, some of them are left-handed, and the weird thing, I don't think we've ever talked about this before, the weird thing with left-handed scissors is there's two things that can go on there with them. There are true left-handed scissors that were actually made for left-handed people, and you have to be very careful sharpening them because the angles on the blade are set up for a left-handed person, which means we would actually have to change the sharpener setup here. We should actually have this wheel on this side and this wheel on this side if we're sharpening a left-handed scissor. Now, there is a workaround. You can also just use your clamp in the honing method on that left-handed scissor, and that way you don't have to take the wheels off and switch them. If you have a whole bunch of them to do, you might want to just switch them and then work like you're used to. Just know you're going to be working on the opposite side of the machine. But to add to that confusion, there's also what we call left-handed scissors that are just handled left-handed, which means it's a right-handed scissor with a left-handed handle part put on it. Could we make this more confusing? I guess, I don't know, probably, but that's how this works. Now, the one way to tell the difference, I'll give you a pair of so this is a normal pair of right-handed scissors. What happens is right-handed people, when we cut, to keep the blades together, we tend to apply pressure with the right thumb inward to keep the blades together. Does that make sense? So we push with this thumb, we push in to kind of try and keep our blades together. Why this gets confusing is because for left-handed people, a lot of left-handed people had to learn to use right-handed scissors because there's not always left-handed scissors around. But what do? Well, for them to keep the blades together, if they push, they're actually pushing them apart. So they've compensated by they pull with their left thumb. They pull in to keep the blades together. And that's what gets a little weird, because you will get scissors that were made right-handed but have left-handed, the handle parts are left-handed. Yeah, so this is an actual left-handed scissor, which is correct. So it's the same as a right-handed person. We push in. If a left-handed person's using this scissor and they're pushing in with their left thumb like a right-handed person would do, it keeps the blades together. So keep that in mind. Hopefully, if you get shears, if a person's left-handed, hopefully they tell you, but usually you'll notice it the minute you go to clamp it, because you're going to go to clamp it and you're going to be like, hey, this is weird. What's going on here? And the reason is because, typically on a normal pair of scissors, I would be clamping this like this, and you can see my angles going the other way. So I would be grinding that angle completely away if I put this in like that on this left-handed shear. It needs to be flipped around. Yeah, so this one would be like this. Yeah. To get that proper angle. Yeah, because if we did it this way, you can see how difficult this would be, right? So you can see why you would want to flip, because you can't work inside here like this. We need to be on that outside. So you're going to know, that's the other key, when you're like, hey, I can't work like this. This is not right. You can see why the left-handed scissor needs to be done on this right side. Alright, so I have switched my machine around. As you can see, I have now my sharpening blade, or my sharpening wheel is on my right side and my honing wheel is on the left side. Another thing I love to use are these magnetic plates when I deal with scissors. That way I don't lose the parts. And whenever it comes to scissors also, I tend to like to clean them up. They always come in kind of gross, hair on them, sticky stuff on them. Depending on what they lubricate their scissors with, sometimes they're really nasty. And I will also hit them on my jewelry polishers sometimes. The other thing I will warn you to is scissors are the one of the few things that I've cut myself with many times. And one of the reasons I wear a cut resistant gloves is when I clean salon shears. I think I've been cut more times on scissors than I have ever been on knives. Very rarely, and it's always cleaning, never sharpening. I never get cut sharpening. But what I have found with scissors, like when I'm cleaning them off like I'm doing right now, you got to be very careful once they are sharpened, especially salon shears. They are incredibly sharp with that 800 grit diamond wheel, and after you hone them and everything, they're like little razors. So just be super careful with that. And if you have any concern, I would wear a cut resistant glove. The very best thing that I have ever found for getting compound off in the world, and I have only found this year, is LA's Totally Awesome. This stuff is amazing. And it's the one thing that I don't have to work really hard when you get like gummed up compound on something to get it off. And ever since I've started using this, I haven't minded using compounds as much, because I really hate when you can't get the stuff off and it just leaves like smudges or black marks, and especially your really greasy compounds like your green colored compounds. They tend to have a lot of like grease in them and they just get gunky. So that is one thing I do. And like this one, you can see we got some rust here. I'm going to take care of all that. Even though these are dog groomers, I usually worry a little bit more about hair salon ones, but the groomers ones, I mean, I just think that they always come, they're dealing with dogs and they just seem to always come in kind of gross. So I usually like to clean them up is the first step that I do. So I'm just not dealing with, greasy, gunky dog gunk and hair and all that stuff. So little LA's Awesome. You can see it just took that gunk and junk out of there. And then if you do have, look, it even got that like rust off on that one. Yeah, so I don't even need to touch that. But normally I would touch those on my jewelry buffers. Let me see if I got any other else here that, But yeah, when you just see these like gunk and stuff like this, and that will also can affect your scissors depending, if it's getting in the way of the ride, it can affect it. But just that's a little tip there for cleaning them up. And these little magnetic things, I think I have the link of this in my, if you've been on my website and look at my 4 sharpeners section, I have a link to like a set of these because I have these all over. I got one over there, I got one over here, I got them on the table. They're just a lifesaver. Too many times in the beginning, I would be doing scissors and then one part would go flying off somewhere. Granted, they're not everything's always magnetic, but you sometimes it just can be a lifesaver when you're dealing with stuff. Garden tools also all the time. Whenever I'm doing pruners with all little parts, and they're almost always magnetic and steel, I throw them in these little magnetic dishes, and that is a big saver of frustration when to cut down the times that you might lose a washer or a screw. Oh, here's a little bit of rust there. But yeah, so I'll show you like what I'll do here, even though I didn't clean this piece up and it might come off with the LA's Awesome. Let's see. What I'll do is just, sometimes I'll just polish these up on the jewelry buffer. And it takes like, literally next to nothing to clean those parts up. And sometimes I'll hit the whole scissor, depending on how that scissor looks. This one's got decoration all peeling off on it. This one's got gunk and stuff in there. That's what I do to start the cleanup process part. Actually, I can show you right here. This one's not terrible. But you can see there's just there's some parts here that just don't look great. So what I'll sometimes do is come to my jewelry buff and polish that up here. You can also touch these parts here. Now this is the 1 micron. I wouldn't go lower on this. On anything that's mirrored, I'm not going lower than this 1 micron unless I have a bunch of scratches to take out. I'm just trying to polish these a bit. A regular buff will do really all you need. So if I want them to look better, you guys know I'm big on returning things looking nice. A little bit of time buffing. Can make that shear look great. And of course, I'm going to do all this before I sharpen because I don't want to do it afterwards because it could easily dull the scissor. So I'll just get in there, a little bit of buff in. That's it. And then I'll come back, clean it off with the rag. Now I got a nice, clean, shiny looking shear. And now I can go on to sharpening it. And I did switch my wheels, as I told you, because of the fact that this was left-handed. I didn't want to have to, and all of them are left-handed. It was easier to switch the wheel than to work with it like upside down for that, you know, one. If it was one shear, I probably wouldn't do it. But since I have like 6 of them, I just switch the wheels. And that's what I do. Okay, we're up to speed here, and here we go. Now, I'm seeing a mistake that I made. Sometimes you have to check this too. Make sure you clamp in a way that you can reach the entire blade. I should have checked that. Okay, that's a better placement there. There's even a little swale in here too. Yeah, definitely is. And I think that's because somebody who sharpened these before probably didn't take them apart and couldn't reach the whole way. So these have been constantly being sharpened from here to here. I think that's what's going on here. And I think that's why that uneven part is there. And I'm just going till I get a burr. And these are in pretty bad shape. She has not had anything done to them in a while. That looks pretty good there. Yep, feel burr. Need a little bit more in this area where whoever sharpened these before me was not hitting this area back here. I mean, you can so clearly see where they stopped. That's good. Okay. So I'm gonna just put that to the side. I'm gonna grab my other blade. So I'm going to quickly just throw these back together. Now remember, usually there's a round side and a boxed side. Your screw usually goes in the round side and then sets into the box side, which holds it straight. And it's so weird when you're doing lefties because everything's a little bit weird when you're right-handed working on left-handed scissors. All right. And I'm only putting these back together temporarily because I still need to hone them. But I want to pull that burr back before I do the honing. So I'm going to push the blades apart. Put them together. Same thing. Pull them apart. Separate that burr. One more time. Okay. And then I like to one-time cut. Just remember when you're using lefties, it's the opposite. Okay. And all you have to do here is just lightly touch it to the wheel. You'll see a little white on there. I don't go too crazy with the honing. Because I don't want to build up too much gunk on it. Checking my cut, looks fine. Same thing here. Make sure we're putting it on the right way. And we flip over. Little commie gold. Now, if you wanted to work on the mirroring, what they tell you to do is you open this up. Some people will put like a penny or a thin coin, a dime works well in here, and then they can slowly move it up. A lot of times I'll just do it, I'll eyeball it, I'll crack it open a little bit. I don't need the coin anymore, and then I might just go up a little bit and then raise it a little bit. But I will warn you, it is putting that stuff all over the shear, which I told you can be hard to get off if you don't have something like LA's Awesome. And I'm going to show you right here as I break this stuff off of here. And that was why I never liked using that until I got this stuff. But this stuff is the bomb when it comes to getting off compound. Just be very careful. Like I said, if you are going to run down that blade edge, because you see there's a little bit of compound in there. That's what I'm trying to get off. You can see I'm not wearing a cut glove. Normally I would. It's coming off mostly thanks to the LA's Awesome. I'll put a little more on there. There's a tiny bit down here at the tip. But you've been warned. The times I have cut my thumb have been literally wiping scissors with a cloth, and it literally cut me right through the cloth. I didn't even feel it. That's how sharp these can be. All right. So now I have to reassemble. I'm going to put my screw in into the round side and then lock it into the box. I'm going to put my safety catch on here, or my adjuster that makes little clicks. If you put this on the wrong way, or sometimes you'll see them and If it's not clicking and making noise at the little click adjustments, you could have it on upside down. Now, I've always been taught the proper tension should be, oh, I got to clean this other blade. I just noticed that. Let's clean that other blade. All right, good day. We didn't cut ourselves. I've always been taught proper tension. When you drop this, it should just about cut, or just about stop at the top. So it shouldn't slam shut. I'm using the wrong side, duh. Okay, so that's too loose. So we give it a couple tightens. That's too tight. And it doesn't hurt to like jiggle a little too, like that. And see how that almost closed all the way? That's perfect. And that's what you're looking for. Now, cut testing. I love Wolf Industries alcohol-based wax lubricant. This is what I use. This stuff is great. I recommend clients give it. For really good clients, sometimes I give them some. I have little plastic bottles. I buy this stuff in the bulk size bottle. I put it on, and then I wipe it off. Any excess. The nice thing about waxed-based lubricants is they don't attract dirt. So what that means is, as they get dirty, the wax just falls off, as opposed to oil-based lubricants, which is why I've never liked when people lubricate scissors with oil. It attracts gunk. This is a 1-ply tissue. All right, so my favorite cut test for salon shears and groomers is a wet 1-ply piece of tissue. This is a little micronized mister that I picked up. I found that's the greatest thing for wetting tissue without destroying it. A regular spray bottle can be a bit much, but this comes very close to simulating wet hair. There we go. Beautiful slice. There's our left-handed. And I want to see if this is cutting clean. And that's a beautiful cut. I know I'm in pretty good shape. And then what I'll do sometimes, this is weird for me trying to use left-handed scissors. I'm going to check on some hair. Yeah, cutting hair beautifully. Yeah, and these are good to go. One down. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 more to go. All right. So I just wanted to show you that. That's pretty much dog groomer, left-handed dog groomers. So probably not something you're going to see every day, but I figure that might help some of you out. Okay, here is another thing to look out for that you do not want to do accidentally when you start doing shears, especially if you don't have one. I just grabbed this pair of straight cutters, and what I noticed, let me see if I can zoom in and show you here. Do you see that edge? This is what we call a corrugated shear. I do not have a corrugating machine, but this side has all little corrugations cut into it. And what they do is they help the hair stay on this side. Now the good thing is these corrugations feel great. They're very grabby. Everything there looks good. So I'm not gonna mess with that side at all, because it would just ruin these and it would just be a regular pair of scissors. But they are designed so that the hair doesn't slip out. So make sure you check that, okay? You can feel it immediately, but it can be hard to see if you don't look close. A lot of the times the other blade, this is the other side, this is a regular blade. It is not corrugated on the other side. This is the cutting blade. So I'm going to sharpen this side, and you can see I added my cut glove. I usually just wear one so I can clean you'll see my other hand here is normal. That way I can feel burrs and everything else. So we are just going to sharpen this one side and only this one side, because I don't want to grind away those corrugations. They do make a corrugation machine. They are pretty expensive, but if you want to get into doing shears like that, and you want to put corrugations back in on one side for somebody, you can absolutely do that, but you need a corrugating machine. If you don't have one, don't grind the corrugations away. That's my recommendation. In the description of this video, I'll leave links to many of the things I mentioned in here, and I'm going to link another video showing how I do pruners on the twice as sharp machine. And at time code around 14 minutes and 39 seconds, I show how I mount those. I meant to record this for these scissors, and for some reason I lost the video, but it shows how to clamp in curved scissors. So if you want to know how to put curved scissors in your twice as sharp for sharpening, go check out that video, because pruners are done the same way.